This is my reflective presentation by Bretton, Colorado Christian University. Meet Bob. Bob is your typical everyday 50-year-old American male. Bob is a 6-foot tall, 250-pound man who wakes up every day in hopes of fulfilling the American dream. Bob is considered to fall into the category of living in a late adulthood, but he denies it. This is a reflective interview between me and Bob. Bob and I are dear friends, and we have been through the ringer together. I have known Bob for 13 years, and some of the things from this interview were beyond my knowledge until now. In this interview, we are going to see what makes Bob tick. Kell and Kavanaugh wrote in 2019, "We need to look at the forces that combine to shape human development." Chapter 1. Bob grew up in Denver, Colorado, in a traditional hard-working family microsystem. They loved to watch football from the stands on Bronco Sundays. Bob was an intellectual boy who always had an impressive answer and point of view for any question or problem. Bob is still that way today. Bob's family and football was his life, and still is today. After high school, Bob went to college at Denver University. Bob wanted to get away from his familiar microsystem and see the world, so Bob joined the United States Navy. Careers in the United States Navy 2009 wrote, "The United States Navy's most famous recruiting slogan proclaimed, 'It's not just a job, it's an adventure.' The world's largest Navy can take you places you couldn't possibly go on your own to do things you never knew you could do." Bob's development from an adolescent to a young adult really took hold during his 10 years in the Navy. Bob saw the whole world and has been places that most people only dream of. He's even seen the Southern Cross at the Southern Seas. The 10 years that Bob spent in the Navy developed his structured and organized personality that he still has today. Bob is a man of great integrity and moral values. I know this because of what I have observed through the many years as friends and brothers. Bob and I met in rehab in 2006. Every man can be successful and every man will stumble. The way of the wicked is like darkness. They do not know over what they stumble. Proverbs 4:19, New American Standard Bible. Bob hit a stumbling block in his life due to substance abuse and has suffered great losses and regret that still influence his life to this day. It has been 13 years since I met Bob in rehab, and it has been that long since his family disowned and banished him. Because of Bob's lifestyle, he wasn't there when his father died. Bob's family no longer recognize him as family and has deemed him excommunicado. This caused Bob to enter a period of despair and disappointment. Bob has transitioned into a life of sobriety and healthy living through cognitive restructuring and reflective judgment. Kell and Kavanaugh 2019 wrote, "Reflective judgment, a way adults reason through dilemmas involving current affairs, religion, science, personal relationships, and the like." Chapter 10. Bob has coped with his loss of family by building a new one. My family call him Uncle Bob. Bob now holds a top-ranking position as a pillar of the community. The human ability to push forward through moments of adversity is astounding. The last question in the interview was about the role in which religion played into Bob's life. Bob believes in a higher power, but he stated that the church is an organized racket, which also means monopolizing organization. His only involvement with church as a child was going to the sunrise service on Easter morning at Red Rocks. If you haven't been to Red Rocks, you should go. It's beautiful. Roberts 2011 wrote, "We long for these eyes of those around us to be open so that they can come to know God through Christ." Page 18. I have known Bob for many years, and he has played a pivotal role in my life and the life of my wife and children. I believe the best role that God has played in Bob's life since his sobriety is that of the existence of God through me and my family. What better way to show God's power than through his works? We love and treat Bob as we should. We love Bob just the way he is. As Bob always says, "You're a good egg, a little cracked, but a good egg." And here's my references. And this concludes my reflective presentation about Bob.